Welcome to this training video where we will explore the differences between the traditional educational approach and the competency-based educational approach, CBE, especially in the context of technical and vocational education and training, TVET. We'll go row by row through the comparison table to help you reflect on your teaching practices and consider how you can adopt more effective, modern approaches. This video will encourage you to shift your paradigm and embrace methods that better prepare learners for the demands of today's labor market. In a previous video, we briefly introduced this graph comparing the traditional educational approach with the competency-based approach, CBE, but we didn't have the opportunity to fully explain it. In this video, we'll take a closer look at each row of the graph to better understand the key differences between these two approaches, and explore how transitioning to CBE can significantly enhance teaching and learning in TVET settings. In the traditional approach, the main objective is the acquisition of theoretical knowledge. This often means that learners are expected to memorize facts and figures without necessarily understanding how they can be applied in real-world situations. In contrast, the competency-based approach focuses on the development of practical and transferable skills. The goal is for learners to acquire competencies they can use in their careers, making them more adaptable and prepared for a variety of work contexts. Is the primary goal of your teaching to pass on knowledge, or are you helping learners develop practical skills they can use on the job? It's important to reflect on the outcomes of your teaching approach. Are your learners leaving the classroom with just theoretical knowledge, or are they equipped with the competencies to solve real-world problems? Traditional education often prioritizes content delivery and memorization, but today's industries demand employees who can think critically, adapt, and apply their skills in practical, unpredictable environments. Shifting your focus towards skill development not only prepares students for immediate employment, but also enhances their long-term career growth. Are you providing them with the tools and opportunities to practice, engage, and master the skills they need for success in the labor market? Role of the teacher. In a traditional classroom, the teacher is often seen as the transmitter of knowledge. They stand at the front of the room, delivering information for students to absorb passively. However, in a competency-based approach, the teacher takes on the role of an accompanist or learning facilitator. Here, the teacher guides the learners through their own discovery process, supporting them as they build skills and solve problems. Do you see yourself more as a source of knowledge or as a guide, helping your students navigate their own learning journey? As educators, we often assume the role of the expert, delivering knowledge to our students. But is that enough to truly prepare them for the complexities of the modern workplace? In the competency-based approach, the teacher is more than just a provider of information. They are a mentor and facilitator, guiding learners as they discover solutions, develop problem-solving skills, and apply what they learn in meaningful ways. Encouraging learners to take ownership of their education helps foster critical thinking and autonomy, empowering them to become lifelong learners. Are you fostering an environment where students actively engage with the material and take responsibility for their own growth? Role of the learner. In traditional education, learners are often treated as passive containers of knowledge. They sit, listen, and take in information, with little active participation. In CBE, learners are active participants in their own education. They are problem solvers and critical thinkers, engaging directly with the material to understand how it applies in practical scenarios. How often do you create opportunities for your students to take an active role in their learning, such as problem solving or hands-on activities? In a traditional classroom, students are often passive recipients of information, but real learning happens when they engage directly with the material. Active learning methods, such as problem-solving tasks, group projects, and hands-on activities, help students internalize concepts by applying them to real-world scenarios. These opportunities encourage critical thinking and the development of practical skills, making learning more relevant and engaging. By incorporating more interactive and practical elements into your lessons, you help learners transition from theory to practice, preparing them for challenges they will face on the job. How can you enhance your teaching to include more activities that push students to actively participate in their learning process? Methodology. Traditional approaches to teaching rely heavily on lectures, memorization, and written tests. The focus is on retaining information rather than applying it. In CBE, the methodology is different. It involves active learning through real-life situations, case studies, and projects. This method allows learners to apply what they have learned in realistic contexts, which helps in retaining and understanding skills more deeply. How can you incorporate more project-based learning or case studies in your lessons to create a more engaging and practical learning experience for your students? Project-based learning and case studies are powerful tools to bridge the gap between theory and practice. These methods place learners in real-world scenarios where they can apply their knowledge, work collaboratively, and develop problem-solving skills. In TVET education, this is especially crucial, as students need to be prepared for the hands-on challenges of their trade. By integrating projects that simulate workplace tasks or analyzing case studies based on industry-specific situations, you can foster deeper understanding and engagement. Learners are more likely to retain information when they see its relevance to their future careers. How can you redesign your lessons to include practical, project-based tasks that mirror the complexities of the work environment your students will enter? Evaluation. Traditional evaluation methods typically involve written exams and memorization tests. These assessments often check whether a student can recall information but don't measure their ability to apply it. Competency-based evaluations, on the other hand, are built around practical demonstrations, portfolios, and simulations. These assessments measure a learner's ability to apply what they have learned in real-world situations, making them more relevant to workplace readiness. How can you adjust your assessments to evaluate your learners' practical skills rather than just their ability to remember information? Traditional assessments often focus on a learner's ability to recall information, but real-world success depends on how well they can apply that knowledge in practice. Shifting from written exams to more practical forms of assessment, such as simulations, hands-on tasks, portfolios, or real-world problem-solving exercises, can better evaluate your learners' true competencies. This approach not only measures what they know, but also how effectively they can use that knowledge in actual job scenarios. By assessing practical skills, you ensure that your students are not just passing exams, but are genuinely prepared to meet the demands of the workforce. How can you redesign your assessments to focus on demonstrating skills in action, ensuring they align with the practical needs of the industry? Link to the labor market. In the traditional model, the knowledge passed on to learners is often general and lacks direct links to the labor market. This can leave learners unprepared for specific industry needs. CBE, however, is closely tied to the demands of the labor market. It focuses on teaching strong, specific skills that are in demand by employers, making the transition from education to employment smoother. Does your current curriculum align with the specific skills needed in the industries your learners will be entering? The ultimate goal of any TVET program is to prepare learners for the demands of the job market. This requires a curriculum that directly reflects the skills, tools, and practices currently used in the industry. If your curriculum is outdated or too focused on theory, learners may struggle to meet the expectations of employers once they enter the workforce. Regularly updating your content to reflect industry trends, emerging technologies, and specific skill sets ensures that your students are learning what is truly relevant. Engaging with industry professionals, conducting labor market research, or incorporating work-based learning can help keep your curriculum aligned with current needs. How frequently do you review your curriculum, and are you actively incorporating the competencies that employers seek? Flexibility and adaptation. Traditional education tends to follow a standardized model, with little room for adaptation to the local context or individual learner needs. CBE, however, is flexible and can be customized to meet the unique needs of both learners and the local environment. This flexibility is crucial especially in developing countries, where educational content must often be adapted to suit different regions, industries, and learner backgrounds. How can you make your teaching more flexible and responsive to the specific needs of your learners and the local context in which you teach? Every group of learners is unique, with different backgrounds, skill levels, and learning preferences. Similarly, the local context, such as available resources, cultural factors, and labor market demands, plays a crucial role in shaping effective education. Flexibility in teaching means adapting your methods to accommodate these variations. This might involve tailoring your examples and case studies to reflect local industries, adjusting the pace of instruction for learners with varying foundational knowledge, or using alternative methods for learners with limited literacy or language proficiency. By creating an adaptable and learner-centered approach, you ensure that education is both relevant and accessible. Are you incorporating local contexts, learner feedback, and flexible strategies into your teaching to meet the diverse needs of your students? Sustainability of skills. In traditional education, the skills taught are often theoretical and can become obsolete quickly as industries evolve. CBE ensures that the skills learners develop are practical and adaptive. These skills are updated regularly to reflect changes in the industry, making them more sustainable over time. Are you teaching skills that will remain relevant as industries and technologies change? How can you ensure your learners stay current with industry trends? In rapidly evolving industries, it is crucial to teach not just foundational skills, but also adaptable, future-oriented competencies that will remain relevant as technologies and practices advance. While core skills are essential, learners must also develop problem-solving abilities, critical thinking, and adaptability to thrive in changing environments. To ensure your students stay current, you can incorporate industry updates into your curriculum, invite guest speakers from relevant fields, and encourage continuous learning through access to new tools and technologies. Staying connected with industry professionals and regularly reviewing curriculum content can help keep your teaching aligned with the latest trends. Are you equipping your learners with both the practical skills and the mindset to succeed in an ever-changing job market? Learner motivation. Finally, let's talk about learner motivation. In traditional settings, learners are often motivated extrinsically by the desire to pass tests or earn grades. In CBE, motivation is more intrinsic. Learners are driven by a sense of competence and achievement as they apply practical skills in meaningful ways. How can you create a learning environment that fosters intrinsic motivation, encouraging your students to value the skills they are acquiring over the grades they receive? Intrinsic motivation comes from within, driven by a genuine interest in learning and mastering skills, rather than external rewards like grades. To foster this in your learners, create a classroom environment where the focus is on real-world applications and personal growth. Encourage students to take ownership of their learning by setting meaningful, skill-based goals, offering hands-on projects that mimic actual work scenarios, providing constructive feedback focused on improvement, and recognizing achievements in skill mastery rather than exam scores can shift learners' focus from grades to growth. Additionally, showing how the skills they're developing will be useful in their future careers can inspire a deeper engagement. How can you shift your teaching to emphasize the value of learning for its own sake, rather than simply achieving high grades? By comparing these two approaches, we can see that the competency-based approach offers a more dynamic, flexible, and effective method of preparing learners for the modern workforce. It allows us, as teachers, to go beyond merely transmitting knowledge and instead focus on helping learners build practical, marketable skills. Reflect on the questions presented in this video and think about how you can bring these changes into your own teaching practice. Final reflective question. What is one immediate change you can implement in your teaching to align with the competency-based approach?